and hopefully I don't hear myself in the background here in about 2 seconds. So, first of all, audio quality is not going to be that terribly great because we are doing that thing where the mic is in the middle of us and we're having to speak into it whilst the dog is running and chasing the cats, which is unfortunate. That said, how's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful time so far. We actually have the stream online right now, because if you've checked Twitter and Discord, you know that my PC apparently decided to shit the bed today. I rebooted the PC about 10 minutes before the stream to make sure that everything was going to be smooth, and then it decided that rebooting was the last thing it wanted to do. It instead wanted to freeze on my desktop and highlight anything that I actually clicked instead of actually clicking it, which means none of my software worked, and Task Manager didn't work, and I about wanted to flip my table. So, that was, scary. Shannon says that she's sick of my shit. Don't worry, Shannon, I'm sick of my shit, too. As are they. I'm 90% certain both of them are really tired of my shit. But, at least one of them is stuck with it for a while.
Yeah, Aaron.
Now, it's you. We've been dating for 3 years. She's a house guest.
Am I a house guest?
I mean, pseudo-permanently, I guess.
I'm muting with her.
No, bad. So, I know that this looks like an alarmist news article that we're going to be talking about, but I swear, this is on the Biblical Gender Roles website. This is a thing on their website. And I haven't read through the entire thing, as per usual, because I do want some of my reactions to be genuine. But I did skim through it a bit, and I saw some things. Some things definitely jumped out at me when I read this article and just skimmed through it before. One of them was apparently the leftist appropriation of the term gay. That's an actual set of words that was strung together on this website.
Wait. The leftist appropriation of the term gay.
Yes. I actually had to spend some time studying the etymology of the word gay after this. Like, after I skimmed through that, I said, let me go ahead and get my facts straight real quick. And it turns out that there might be a nugget of truth to what they said. The nugget has nothing to do with political reasons, though.
No, it has nothing.
It has nothing to do with left or right.
It has everything to do with LGBT people were like, but we're happy and gay.
No, it has nothing to do with that. Actually, it has everything to do with the association coming from a movie that came out over in Europe, where it was first used in that movie to mean that you were queer or homosexual. And it was in, like, the 60s when it came out, and then it was shortly after that, like 70s, 80s, that it got turned into a pejorative word once the association was there. And then it was only after about 2006 that it went from being a pejorative label all the time to being used as more of just a state of being again, as it was originally recoined in the 60s. Like, it was weird. I actually had to spend time studying the etymology of that word so I could determine whether or not my argument was going to be full of shit.
Well, today I learned.
Yeah, no, it was weird. So yeah, no, it was a. If you look at the Wikipedia page for gay, it actually has an entire section about, like, this. For this many years, it was used as a predominantly pejorative word in all of these methods. Apparently, there was also a conversation held with a few political representatives in 2006, where one representative had to get up and just go, "Look, gay does not have to be pejorative. It can be a very neutral word. We just have to let it be that word." And just, it was interesting.
Someone cue up Godless Engineers. Today I learned. No.
Today I learned there was a real-life sirloin of beef. Oh dear. So, that said, that was a very interesting thing to find out. And we'll probably bring it up again in brief whenever we get to that part of the article. But that part alone made me go, oh no, there's got to be some other nuggets of gold in this article. And seeing as the last, that is a very nice forehead, honey.
I'm sorry, I was so distraught at what you were speaking that I doodled a weird thing.
Speaking of doodles, I'm not sure how much of the stream it's going to affect, but just like with the Hammered Out podcast, we are going to be showing fan art on the screen if it gets submitted during the course of the episode. Just please remember to tag me in the Discord so I get notification when that happens.
I'm sorry.
I have no idea how hard that's going to make it to read anything when we actually get to the article. That said, I do have to introduce my guests as usual now that we've gotten all the technical shit and the fun shit out of the way. Raz, how are you doing?
Hi, my name's Dad. I have a son. His name is Gohan.
Wait, what?
He doesn't fucking dodge when that's all I want him to do. I want him to dodge his feelings, his girlfriend, and the ball. But he does none of it. So I'm here with my weights on my shoulders,
Oh my God.
ready to beat the shit out of this young child that is now my adopted son, so he may once more become a Saiyan.
And Banana Jr. in the chat has gone ahead and beat you to the punch by saying in all caps, DODGE! So, damn it. And then, Aaron, how are you doing?
I have a feeling that I'm just going to die laughing today.
It feels perfect. So for anybody wondering all the busy shit that is going on in the thumbnail, because the thumbnail is rather busy, I understand that. However, for those who paid attention to Biblical Gender Rules 6.5, after about the hour mark, it devolved. It devolved heavily. Instead of actually going in any productive route, we ended up just voicing characters from various abridged series, and seeing as Erin hasn't seen any of them, she just voiced Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Okay, you guys are going to have to speak up louder. Because...
Dodge!
Okay, there we go. That'll work out. Erin, you try.
Let me stop dying.
Oof.
Well then.
Raz is probably going to kill me.
Drake says that is the right volume for Raz.
Yeah.
Except there's also a RIP headphones. So apparently that is not the right volume. Raz, thine titties. It's my day. Thine titties.
Thine titties!
Oh my gosh. That said, for those who watched the April Fool's episodes, how did you guys enjoy that? Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and put something slightly more productive on the screen. Wait, I can't hear you anymore. Oh god, no.
Screw earphones.
Use
Use
proper
proper
speakers.
speakers. Oh my god. We are
Oh
going
dear.
to be rip all headphone users.
Rip
Oh.
all headphone users.
I'ma die laughing.
Drake says he had Caramel dancing on repeat for hours straight.
I mean,
Yeah.
same.
I mean, yeah, I could agree with that. So, the reason that I brought up the last episode is everybody knows how horribly it devolved into just abridged series humor. So, we went ahead and got a special thumbnail for this episode today for those who can see. And our special thumbnail has me having a dual disc and Yugi's clothes from Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series.
You gotta put it up on the thing.
I already have, honey.
Oh, okay,
You're just
there
slow
we
on the
go.
update. And just kidding, it's the lag between freaking my computer and YouTube. So we've got that. We have Raz dressed as Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And then, because Erin hasn't seen any Abridged series, she is Stitch.
I have seen Hellsing Ultimate Abridged.
Okay, so you've seen the end result.
Hold on.
Hold on.
We got a $2 super chat. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Wax on, wax off.
No, that's not where it's from.
I know, honey.
No, it's from Dodgeball.
Oh my god. Where's my... I actually had a crescent wrench over there.
Yeah, somewhere.
And if you can dodge the wrench...
You can dodge a ball.
I see that Josiah Hansen that said that, hello, Cirrus, please entertain me while I'm working.
Banana Jr. said, Yami Cirrus, Rosalo, and I don't know.
Rosalo!
I am Rosalo!
Oh my god.
I am the
Anywho.
last Namekian.
Alright.
I just realized something.
Hmm.
Because I have seen Hellsing Ultimate Abridged, right?
Yeah?
And then my degree. I missed the chance to be Ceres.
Yeah.
But I never missed the chance to be Cirrus. You missed. You actually missed. I'm also going to put this behind my back because there's pain. Okay.
Are you not entertained for $2 more?
All right. Well, now that the bad puns are, well, they're not really out of the way and they're not done.
They're never out of the way with us.
No, they're going to continue happening. I just hope that my guests remember to speak loudly into the microphone because our mic situation is a single microphone sitting up here, desperately trying to capture everyone's audio.
It's doing its job, okay?
It
No,
is trying
it's
so
doing its
goddamn
best. It's doing its best.
hard. It's trying so hard. It's not necessarily succeeding.
Oh my god. Messenger reveals, is this the Matt Powell fan club channel? No, not really.
Matt Powell can not do Matt Powell things.
And he can eat a bag of dicks. I'd say that's a very Matt Powell thing to do. That said, speaking of people who can eat a bag of dicks, Biblical Gender Roles, as of March 29th, decided to make a post that looks like an alarmist news article. Misandrous teen girls attack teen boys for ranking them by looks. Now, granted, there are some things in this article that I kind of agree with Biblical Gender Roles. Like this much. So,
That's a scary concept.
it is. It actually is. But
But at least today's a parody episode, so fuck whatever you agree with. We're gonna read it in the most annoying way possible.
well, we're definitely gonna start out trying to read it. That's probably not how it's going to
I
end.
mean, I'm going to try to read it in my best voices.
Oh my god.
$2 more from Publicis, ESPN, the Ow.
I mean, Drake, consider this.
Ocho.
If
I'm
Biblical
sorry,
Gender
ouch.
Roles said chocolate exists, I would have to agree with them on the fact that chocolate exists.
Rainbow Unicorn Destruction for $2. Love you guys so much. You're absolutely adorbs.
But,
Nice.
alright. So, let us begin the absolute stupidity that is this article.
People, I've seen 5 comments about the fact my hair is pink now. My hair is pink now. It's actually rose gold. There, has been stated.
Alright. Also, we have Rainbow Unicorn Destruction. Love you guys so much. You're absolutely adorbs.
Already said that.
It was already stated.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it again anyway because it's that great. So, yeah. Nya, 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 nya.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, you completely missed the reference. Absolutely not. The meme is dead. Says the guy who used caramel dancing. Banana Jr. says, I will try not to cringe while you guys are reading this.
Nyan cat for the win.
Okay. Brooke says, it feels like I'm watching 5-year-olds.
Yes.
You know, sometimes I feel like I'm a 5-year-old, only because I technically grew up, but maturing was not something I ever had a chance to do.
Also, Crystal Fiquette, it isn't ginger, it's actually a gradient. It's salmon at the top and flamingo at the bottom, and several animals were harmed, but not by us and not in the making of our hair products.
Wait. Then when were the animals harmed?
That's for you to find out.
Also, I see that Brooke has commented on Facebook as well. What the hell did I walk into? The goat needs to stay.
Now
Better
the
get
Nyan will be
cross
stuck
beard.
in my head all day long.
Oh dear. All right.
I meant I'll try not to cringe while you are trying to read the comments, the article is just fine.
It's not pink. It's light red.
The article
Aaron's
is
hair is lewd
horrible.
from Jack.
Oh my
Jack,
god.
you're a lewd, okay?
Jack, you are just straight up lewdness. So.
All I can think of is that animation that he always puts up in Discord. Lewd. Alright, so, beginning with the article. Another unchallenged case of misandry recently took place at Bethesda Chevy Case High School in Maryland. Also, I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. I sincerely doubt that there's any actual integrity in this article. But it was at that high school that a large group of senior girls demanded that their school administration discipline a group of boys who made a list ranking several girls according to their looks. Below is an expert from the Washington Post story.
I've heard of this, and it fucking, all the kids involved got in fucking trouble, because of how they did it, and because it was a public forum, and, depending on what rank you got, also led to what type of bullying you got.
Ah.
Because even if you were at the top of the list and you were the prettiest, you got called a whore because everybody found you attractive.
So basically,
It was a lose-lose for any female or people or someone ranked in the system. They started out with girls, but I think the girls clapped back and tried to do the guys. But it wasn't as bad for the guys because they were just like, oh yeah, man, the girls find you all attractive.
yeah, they just
From
kind
what
of
I
take
understand
it
of
in
the
stride.
situation, that's how it was handled.
It just. From the situation.
Words, they're hard.
They are very hard. So from the situation, what I had gotten out of it when I read about it, it wasn't just a lose-lose. It was a... If you were on this list, on either end, you're just kind of fucked.
So, here's what we're going to find out. We're going to take what they said in the Washington Post article, we're going to read through that and see how much of the story they've actually allowed to come through. We will start with Raz.
Normal or funny?
Let's start with normal. It'll devolve.
Okay. A group of male students in their program created the list more than a year ago, but it resurfaced earlier this month. Through text messages and whispers during class, one male classmate, seeing the name of his good friend, I guess her name's already on here, so it's already public knowledge, Nikki Schmidt, on the list, told her about it, and within 24 hours, dozens of girls had heard about the list. You.
Lists like this one had silently circulated among teenage boys for generations, and has happened in more recent years at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School, too, the student said. But it was happening now in the era of the hashtag #MeToo movement. Women had been standing up to harassment in workplaces and on college campuses, and the high school girls who had been witnessing this environment decided they weren't going to let issues slide.
They felt violated, objectified by classmates, and they considered...
You don't need to know.
Did you not mute your phone?
You know what? Everybody needs to hear Napster Look every now and again, okay?
No, everybody needs to hear Death by Glamour. Which was definitely not what I did on April Fool's Day. To subject everybody to my love of Undertale. Anyway, they felt violated, objectified by classmates they considered their friends. They felt uncomfortable getting up to go to the bathroom, worried that the boys might be scanning them and editing their decimal points, said Lee Schwartz, one of the other senior girls on the list. Unsatisfied with the disciplinary action, Schmidt texted about 15 girls she knew and told them to tell all of their friends to show up at the school's main office the next day during lunch to tell them that we feel unsafe in this environment and that we are tired of this toxicity, Schmidt wrote in her text. About 40 senior girls showed up, packing into an assistant principal's office as Schmidt read a statement that she had written. We want you to know that the school is. We want you to know what the school is doing to ensure our safety, or we want to know what the school is doing to ensure our safety and security, Schmidt said. We should be able to learn in an environment without the constant presence of objectification and misogyny. Okay, so here's the thing. All of the other context that you guys know from this story, because both of you already knew of this story beforehand. Notice what's missing in this article.
The backlash?
The
And-
girls writing their list.
Yeah,
The bullying
any
that
any
got-
of the rest of the story is missing.
Yeah.
Which sounds very apt for Mr. Biblical Gender Rules and his
Yep.
dick waffling.
So, would you like to know the one thing I agree with biblical gender roles so far? I agree with them that the only way they could have possibly made their case was by misrepresenting it.
Yep.
Spoilers over. That's the one thing I agree with at this point. Is that the only way they could possibly do this in a way that made it make sense is by misrepresenting it. Also, Tony says he's quote mining and cherry picking. He's not necessarily quote mining, but he is definitely cherry picking. So,
See, here's the thing. I'm going to say the girls handled it as well as they could for the situation and their life experience. Would that have been the best way to handle it? Maybe not packing 40 girls into a small office.
no, actually, I think that would have been one of the best ways to do it, because one of the easiest ways to guarantee that something changes is to put your authority figures in a position where they have to elicit change. As an example, when I was trying to move up at one of my old stores, and my manager had told me that I was going to be promoted, every single time that it felt like he was stringing me along, I would actually go to his boss and say, these are the conversations that we've had, this is the time frame that I've been given, I just wanted to let you know. That way, whenever I had the conversations with my boss, I could then let him know, well, I have had conversations with your boss about the time frames that you've given me, and it was my way of making sure that he kept his promises and kept on track. Sometimes, putting the person who can do something about the situation into a corner is one of the only ways to elicit change. Otherwise, you're going to get that lovely status quo.
You can project, but lean over
Yeah.
a little when you do it because you were yelling in my ear.
Sorry. I'm not saying the way they did it to back him into a corner is wrong. I'm just saying maybe not in a very small office where there's not enough room to breathe and do things to force him to listen. But hey, let's meet in this slightly bigger room and then do it that way.
No.
No,
I still disagree.
here's the
I like
thing.
making people uncomfortable when they do
Here's-
something wrong.
Here's the thing. You went to school for the majority of your schooling in another country.
Right.
He went to a private school. I am the only one here that for her entire schooling existence, with the exception of her last 2 years, was in public school. This type of lists are real. And these type of lists, if you don't corner an adult in an office that is a teacher or a principal of some kind and fucking tell them to listen, they will not. For instance, I was in early high school. I think it was late middle school, early high school. Probably more on the high school side of things. I wrote a petition to my principal because he would not allow us a specific thing back that everyone wanted. And it was basically just a free hour at the end of the day that we already got, but instead of being confined to the classroom, we rotated who got to go outside. I wrote a petition. That petition got over 2,000 signatures and made its way to him. And the only way he could get the person that wrote the petition to listen was to pull everyone that signed it into a fucking room. And he pulled us into the lunchroom for 2,000 people, not the gymnasium where it would have been bigger. Because it's a lot easier to control the scenario with a large group of people in a smaller environment. When you have these types of things, and a lot of teachers will just go, oh no, it's just boys being boys, girls being girls, it's okay, we all know Sally slept with Dawn, that's why she's at the top of the list. Huh. No, these girls literally had only one choice, and that was to target an individual that they could get through to and surround and flock around them. This was their only choice. Because if they had done it in any other way, the adult would not have listened.
No, then nothing would have happened, because the one of the biggest problems with talking with somebody from a previous generation is that usually they would like things to continue the way that things went in their generation, even if the way things were done in their generation is terribly flawed. this is where we get a lot of people who say, oh no, it's perfectly fine for a guy to hit a girl because that means that he's flirting with her. I'm sure we've heard that
No.
adage at least once or
It's
twice.
It's literally what's preached to
Except
children.
it's not.
It's literally what's preached to children. Oh, he's hitting you?
That
That's
means he
okay.
likes you.
He likes you.
And you know
so
what?
then you grow up in that society thinking that it's okay for boys to hit you or girls to hit you that like you because, oh, they like you. So you should take that abuse. It's not
No.
okay.
And
that's
the
what's
issue
legitimately taught over here.
and the issue here
Yes.
isn't that a list was being made, because if a list is being made where you're ranking people, these lists exist for YouTubers, they exist for celebrities, they exist for kids, they exist for everything. It's not that the list exists that's the problem. This is the issue with the misrepresentation that happens with the article. It's that the list was used as a mechanism to bully others after the fact, and the bullying was based on the people's rank. So what we have if you look at how it's portrayed in the Biblical Gender Roles article, which I'm warning you is not a credible source, what they've taken from the Washington Post article, the excerpt that they've used, paints the entire situation as guys made list, girls didn't like, girls cornered authority figure because they didn't like. That's the situation portrayed to you from Biblical Gender Roles. However, as people in the chat have mentioned, as Aaron and Raz have mentioned, the situation was a little more complicated than that. The list was being used as a targeting mechanism. As a result, we have ourselves a situation where Biblical Gender Roles is taking a case and making a case against a giant straw man. Because their straw man, their blatant misrepresentation of the situation, is based entirely on cutting out important pieces of information.
And I want to point something out for the chat. I'm not going to call anyone out. Well, I wasn't going to call anyone out, but I'm about to call someone out because what you're saying is blatantly incorrect, and that is there is no emotional bullying if you give no value or power to those who behave poorly and ignorantly as those boys did. I want you to legitimately walk into a room full of your peers and people that were in your school now, and I want you to speak as loud as you can one thing that only you know about yourself, or something that you know they wouldn't like.
And watch how quickly you get torn down.
Like, it doesn't matter if you give them that emotional thing. When you are a small individual or a child in this circumstance, you are in a situation where the teachers don't give two fucks about you 90% of the time. And the teachers that do don't have the power to do anything because they're not the fucking principal or the superintendent or anything. It's not that the list is the issue. Lists are made all the time. The issue is with the bullying that comes after it, and I'm sure that if one of your 8 children were being bullied, you'd fucking do something.
I'd also say, and just calm down just a little bit, I understand that you're upset, you are also live, and there is no reason. So, my point would be this to Messenger Reveals, and to anybody that shares their sentiments. So, it's pretty commonly acknowledged, and if you want to pretend that this is not the case, then I'm okay with you lying to yourself. But it's fairly commonly acknowledged that emotional scars are the ones that stay. Physical scars are the ones that go away. Physical scars lead to flinching. Physical scars lead to bruising. They don't lead to bruising. Bruising leads to physical scars. But physical scars that you get from any type of physical assault, yes, in that moment, they might kill you. However, their long-term damage is much less than the emotional and psychological damage elicited from the same actions. At the same time, emotional and psychological damage that is elicited from any action also does the same thing. It lasts much longer. You can pretend that the words that other people say don't have any power over you. You can pretend that. The problem is that human beings do have limits. So these words won't have power over you until the awkward point where they do. Not to mention, we also understand from basic human psychology that if certain things are reinforced to you, whether you believe them or not, eventually they become your normal paradigm. So if you are bullied at school, this becomes what you are used to. And whenever you make the argument that, oh, you should make sure that they don't have any power over you, while you're not wrong, you should definitely minimize the amount of control that somebody else has over your emotions. At the same time, that argument works equally well for enabling that abuse in the first place.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
This is to Messenger. So when I was reading, and there were quite a few articles surrounding this, it wasn't just emotional bullying. Some of the girls who were lower down on the list also experienced physical bullying. So emotional bullying leads to damage, and you have girls who aren't just dealing with emotional bullying, they're dealing with physical bullying as well. So from what I've seen, the whole situation that biblical gender roles is trying to portray as just list, authority, punishment is much more nuanced, and where it's more nuanced than we can get all into in a live stream.
Like, to put it simply, I was prepared to walk into school and not feel a fucking thing. All it took was one unfortunate thing happening in my life, and that was my mother dying. My bullying increased tenfold. I was told that I was a worthless piece of fucking shit I was 12 at the time, I'm almost 22, so almost a decade of pure, like, you know, you're a piece of shit, you're worthless, you mean nothing, you bring nothing to society, you're literally, like, wasting money, wasting air, wasting whatever. When somebody drills that into your head every day, whether it's at home or in school, it doesn't fucking matter if you're prepared or not. Because at the end of the day, all of the walls that you built can be overcome. And if you have the degrees that you say you have, you'll know that not every child is the same. And giving a generalized statement of, well, we should just prepare them, is false and incorrect. Every child is different. And yes, you can try to prepare them, but that doesn't mean at the end of the day, they won't come home wanting to kill themselves. That doesn't mean one day you won't walk into your fucking son's room or daughter's room or someone's room and find them hanging in their closet or in a tub with their wrists slit. Like, that's not okay, and you can't generalize a statement like that. We're not saying don't prepare your children. We're saying that children cannot always be prepared, and these children were not.
I'm going to close on this. First of all, I would say, if your Discord's open, check it. Secondly, I will say this as the closing and the last thing that we will say to the Messenger reveals. If your position is such that it validates the person who is harming the other one, then your position ought change. That's all I will say. Also, Robert X has a point. If I put a comment, it might be better if I add who I'm talking to. Yes, I forgot to at you for the last one. I apologize about that. But yeah, no, my point to Robert X when he said that if these lists existed for someone else, would it be valid there as well, or would it be Tu Quoque? It only matters for Tu Quoque if you're using it to invalidate the previous argument. So, for instance, this list exists. This list caused bullying to these girls. So, if your argument saying, well, boys did this list as well, okay, cool. Then that means that both parties are in the wrong. It doesn't invalidate the argument that a party was in the wrong here, if the list was made to bully another set of people in the first place. So, it's Tu Quoque if you use it to invalidate the converse position, but it is not Tu Quoque to bring it up in its own environment. So if you say, hey, we have a separate argument where another list exists that is causing similar effects of physical abuse, emotional abuse, etc., then that is a valid argument that we need to discuss at that point. But using it, I'm not saying that you meant to use it as a method of invalidating what has happened here, but if you do use it in a way that can even be perceived as that, it will be taken as Tu Quoque and it will be taken as fallacious.
That being said, let's try to move on from that.
Yep, we will. So, that's it. So there you have it, a classic case of misandry if there ever was one. And sadly, the teens, both girls and boys, were taught to celebrate this misandry that took place as if it was some sort of moral victory, but the sad truth is that these young girls probably have no idea what they have engaged in have no idea that what they engaged in was a clear act of misandry, and the teen boys involved probably didn't know that they are the true victims of hatred in this case. So let me get this straight. So, the victims here are the ones who created the article that caused the bullying, The victims here are the ones that, in many cases, carried out the bullying. By this logic, by the logic that has been utilized here, anyone who is being bullied or abused, it must be their fault. It cannot be the abuser's fault. And that's a little sickening. Like, I want to get to the part where we can maybe devolve this entire thing into parody so we can have fun, but right now we're at the very unfun part of this article. Now, as you can see for the next portion, we get into a little bit of an etymological argument about the words misogyny and misandry, where biblical gender roles is going to try to paint this as an entire right versus left position, as opposed to ignoring any possible nuance that could be here. And of course they're ignoring nuance, because they're already ignoring literally all of the information that was available to them about this article in the first place. Juan says, by that logic, Hitler was a victim. I mean, I would say that the only problem with that argument is that you're making an appeal to Godwin's law, but yes. Basically. By that argument, Hitler was a victim because he suffered... granted, Hitler did suffer a lot of abuse during his childhood. His parents were not the kindest to him. However, that doesn't excuse the things that Hitler did later. So, yeah, no, this argument would work equally well for that. Again, it's an appeal to Godwin's law, but still. Jack says Stalin was a victim then. Same problem. You can't say that the person was a victim when they are the ones that killed thousands of people. They may have been victimized at a certain point in their childhood, or they may have been victimized at a certain point in their adulthood. But they are not the victim of their own actions when their actions lead to the slaughter of millions. Sorry. Again, it's an appeal to Godwin's law, but... Drake says, I'll do you one better. God was the victim. Yeah, no, it's really weird to me that, like, if you think about it, there's entire arguments about how people should not be offended at everything, and yet a lot of the people who have these arguments, I'm not saying many of them, but a lot of them do come from the religious right, and the God, at least here in America, that many of the religious right serve, has got to be the biggest definition of a snowflake that ever has existed. They are offended by the most things, and they have the thinnest skin possible because you're an omni-deity. We are ants compared to you, but the mere act of blasphemy apparently is enough for you to throw us into a fire pit of hell. Sorry. I see many much typing. I am concerned.
Talking in Discord.
Ah, which Discord?
Yours.
Where? I am confused. I do not.
Stream
Stream discussion. Okay.
I'm getting a drink. 'cause my
Fair
drink is
enough.
empty.
This is me trying to actually find stream discussion. No, it is not an excuse at all. I need to do a little bit of more research on Hitler's life growing up, just to make sure that my positions are correct on there. But no, from what I think you are right, that the father did a lot of that, and then the mother was the one who was constantly trying to shelter him. But said, I think Satan gets a raw deal. Yeah, I agree. Sadly not involved in Stream 9 now, playing Hearts of Iron, learning the new updates. Oh boy, here we go again from Drag Worker. Yeah, it is a, this is very much a here we go again issue.
Can I read the next article?
Yes,
Or the next...
by all means.
Sorry, I drank my down the wrong pipe. Misogyny is a word that originated in the 17th century. Correct? And, well, I have to...
Well, you can do this.
Continue the read. You can, like, if you, when you finish reading their thing, while any of us are speaking, feel free to hop on your phone and fact check anything that they're saying.
I have to go grab my phone.
Well, continue reading first. We're not going to
Biblical
pause.
gender roles
And
has
it
a
is
dear,
teenage
hold on.
daughter.
The Latin word
Hold on a
I
moment.
am scared that
We
he's
have the
teaching
robot.
her to be a doormat for some abusive guy.
super chat.
But I happily await the day she leaves religion.
Renata Chan said the biblical gender roles as a teenage daughter. I'm scared that he's teaching her to be a doormat for some abusive guy, but I happily await the day that she leaves religion. $10 super chat. $10 and up super chats do get the robot voice. So I do have to pause this whenever that happens. Otherwise, no one will be able to hear anything that you or the robot is saying. Alright, continue.
Misogyny is a word that originated in the 17th century and is the English form of the Latin word misogynia, which came from the ancient Greek word misogynia. Think I pronounced that correctly? It is made from two Greek words, miso, meaning hatred, and goon, meaning woman. It literally means woman hater or hater of women.
Continue.
Misandry, you scrolled up too far,
Shouldn't be.
is a term of recent origins that misogyny, but not as recent as many would like to believe. The term was coined during the early feminist movements of the late 19th century. One of the first known uses was in reference to Susan B. Anthony, an early feminist champion. The English word misandry was coined from two Greek words, miso, for hatred, and andra, for men. So this word literally means man-hater or hater of men. Let me go fact check.
That actually is correct. Late 19th century from Greek miso. It's the same reason that that a misotheist.
So, like, if you want to turn your chair, like, this way instead of like, the other way.
You guys okay?
This is a new, like, side, and, like, I'm trying to get away from, like, the projecting, and, like, she's turned at me, talking this way, and her chair's facing this way.
So you're
she's
getting
talking
the
at
ear
me.
blast.
So I'm like, please don't at me, please at the mic.
I'm getting my phone to like backtrack some of this crap.
Well, actually, most of what they've said checks out so far.
Most of what they said checks out.
At least in the misandry misogyny portion.
Oh.
At least for the etymology. Miso literally does mean hatred. This is the reason why a misotheist is someone who believes in God but hates God.
When I eat miso, I'm eating a bowl of hatred. That sounds awesome. Same.
I'm a miso soupist.
You hate soup? Why would you hate soup?
Because I tried to buy clothes at the soup store. I was at soup.
This is hot coffee.
Yes.
I'm gonna drink my hot coffee.
All right. So, on to their, oh, here we go. Here's the appropriation of the gay. Leftists are masters of taking words and changing their meanings. Gay once meant happy, but the leftists perverted it into a reference to homosexuals. In the classical sense, liberal meant someone who was for freedom, but now the term liberal has been taken over by the leftists in their quest for domination and control of every thought, word, and deed that people do. So they meant to have an of there, but their editor fucking sucks. And it actually reads, in their quest for domination and control, every thought, word, and deed that people do. So, yeah, you missed an of there, buddy. So, let's continue with their point. Illegal aliens are now undocumented immigrants. There are many liberals that would even like to strip the terms husband and wife from all federal, state, and laws and replace it with spouse or partner. And they have redefined the murder of unborn children, abortion, as reproductive rights. None of this has been redefinition. So, again, I actually had to study the etymology of the word gay because I skimmed this part and made me feel some things.
Hold on, because I'm getting real fucking upset.
Okay?
If you would like to preach what you can free people from, you can take your ass out of this chat. You can't cure PTSD. You can't free someone from fucking PTSD, depression, anxiety. It's not fucking possible.
I'm gonna go ahead
You
and...
can treat it, but you can't cure it.
I'm gonna go ahead and call bullshit on their psychology
Please.
degree.
Fucking, there's the door. You can exit the chat. Stop preaching your fucking bullshit. If you want to have a conversation, that's different. But don't say you can free someone.
What did he say about PTSD?
Oh, it said, my clinical counseling program said there was no cure for personality disorders, and I proved that as well. Do you realize how, like...
Take your fucking bullshit and leave.
So, do you realize that by saying that, let me go ahead and parse out that sentence for you to let you know how stupid that was. Okay. My clinical counseling program said there was no cure for personality disorders. Okay. There's where the first set of that sentence ends. This is a lesson in the English language. And I proved that as well. Okay. And I proved that as well means that you have proven the original consensus. You have proven what the original statement was. Okay. So I'm assuming that you mean that you disproved that. But instead, you said you proved it. So, by your own sentence, because you don't know how to fucking type, my clinical counseling program said there was no cure for personality disorders, and I proved them right. That is how that parses out. Your editor is the same as the one for biblical gender roles. Just throwing that out there. You're typing with thumbs. Ah, yes, but your message is so important that you can't check your own typing. It's very rare that I do this, but I'm not a huge fan of proselytizing in here. I'm also not a huge fan of lying.
And please don't lie to someone who in this community is like an advocate for getting help for these kinds of things. Like, #Heathen is a beautiful fucking person, and you telling them that you can cure them when they know that they can't be cured because they're already going through treatment to deal with the fact that they have these, take your shit and leave.
So,
Here.
I went
Messenger
ahead.
reveals.
I've gone ahead and hidden him.
So you can't see anything we're saying?
Nope, or he can't.
He can
we
hear the
see-
things we're saying, but
we
he can't
can't
type
see him.
anymore.
Oh no. I'm going to extend you the offer of a conversation. Here is the caveat. You are going to sit down. You are going to listen to what I have to say about PTSD because you don't know crap about it if you think you can cure it.
Hey. You're letting other people control your emotions. Like, I understand that that's almost what their point was in the beginning, but
I am going to extend the conversation.
if you want to extend that conversation, perfectly fine. I have no issue with that. I would actually suggest them have that conversation with someone like Shannon as well, because that is her
Yeah,
wheelhouse.
fucking go to Shannon. Take your fucking messenger reveal shit, go to Shannon. Let her fucking drag your ass through the fucking dirt. Because I would like that video and I'll share it to every fucking platform because I want her to win.
Well, no, have it with me and Shannon.
No, he needs to have it with one, or they need to have it with one person. Because it's ganging up on someone if there's more than two people on the same side versus one person.
No.
They just need to have it with one person, and I'd rather them have it with Shannon, not because there's anything wrong with you, but because I want to see Shannon take them down.
Yeah. So, now that that has been hidden, and normally I don't hide people on the channel, but there are a few things that I will hide people for. One, if you're proselytizing, which is very much what they were doing at that point. Two, if you're going to be the type of person that tries to tell people blatant lies. Because, I'm sorry, that is saying that a personality disorder can be cured when it's a genetic thing.
Fucker.
No. You're very incorrect. You're either blatantly misinformed, but you've claimed that you actually have multiple degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and grant that you're well informed and just lying. Either lying about the degree, or in the event you had the degree, lying about the information.
Or
Take
there's
your pick.
another third option. That
Fucking
this,
idiot.
No, that this person actually does think that he can cure people because he pushes and presses and bullies them into submission. He's probably one of those people that we're hearing about now where they're coming out, I can cure people of personality disorders because they drill it into their heads and bully it into their heads that they don't exist. And that it's just in their head and that they're psychotic because they feel like they have these things. So in order to feel normal, you have to hide them. And fuck you if you're that person, because that's even worse.
Also, Excellence USAF says that, can they proselytize the Church of Haruhi? So that causes me a little bit of melancholy, I'm not going to lie. Jack has said, Aaron, hug Raz, please. It would make me feel better. Comfort and hugs. So, oh yeah, Drag Worker pointed out Christian counselors, bro, they have a degree, and so they can't be wrong. I mean, let's be honest. Remember, if you are a fan of Pelagia, which if you're not a fan of Pelagia, then you're doing life wrong. But if you have seen Pelagia, and you're familiar with the Ham and Egg series, you're familiar with Georgia. Georgia has a PhD in biology. Georgia denies basic things about biology. She got her degree solely so that her argument sounded more legitimate. She's admitted this live. You can have your degree, and that's fine. All it means is that it's turned you from a misinformed idiot to a lying idiot. But it never stopped you from being an idiot.
The reason I want to have a conversation with this person who claimed to cure PTSD, they don't understand PTSD. So
They've never looked at a brain scan to actually see how it changes the brain's chemical
Hello,
comp.
honey. Welcome to the chat where I've been angry for the past 10 minutes.
Fair
well,
enough.
The reason I want to have the conversation is to think they could cure PTSD.
They think that they can cure a lot of things. And you know what? I would love to see them try, because the first time they go, no, it's just in your head, I want them to just be shoved by the force of God to the floor. Because they fucking deserve it.
I wasn't aware that you wanted them to go have a conversation with TB Joshua.
You know what? Just what TB Joshua did to those girls is harmful. But I think in this case, I would pay money to watch him do it.
Fair. And
like, I would love to have
okay.
to see that interaction. Like, that would be great. Just TB Joshua versus Messenger Reveals in a fucking debate.
Fair. Okay.
Like, that would be fucking awesome.
It would be interesting to see those two debate, because it would just be one of the most stupid people in the world and another most stupid people in the world just butting heads. Put Hovind in there, and it's the trifecta of idiocy. It's just arguing with one another. Listening to the Antebellum says, just listening to the shouting as I do my math homework, just what I needed, a nice dose of Cirrus and Co. Fair enough.
Let's get back to the article.
Yeah.
And then after we do the article, we let the panda go destroy some things.
I'm not gonna destroy things. I don't have the energy to. I'm still very fucking tired.
Well, let's go ahead and start with you reading this part for a little bit.
Another big word for the left, the left has redefined is dehumanize. Previously, this word has been used to describe horrific events in human history, such as the way African slaves were brought to America on slave ships, or the way Nazis stripped Jews naked and subjected them to medical experiments in gas chambers. Now we are told you are dehumanizing a person if you treat them as the gender they were born rather than as the gender they would like to be known as. And the biggest word leftists have refined is hate. If you disagree with any liberal position on any social issue, you are a hater of some group.
I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. I know that an argument from the dictionary is an etymological fallacy. I recognize that. However, they are arguing from a position of a dictionary as well. I will go ahead and counter with an argument from a dictionary for fun. Dehumanize. To deprive of positive human qualities. There are a few positive human qualities that you have. One of them is your name. This is a very human thing. Animals in the animal kingdom typically do not have names. Humans, however, do, because we have created the society where we have to label objects, people, anything. As a result, humans have names. That is a very human quality. I would argue that somebody's gender identity is equal to their name. Your being able to be known by your name, that is a human quality, and that is granting somebody the human quality. They make an argument about Hitler in here, So I'm going to go ahead and appeal to Godwin's Law. Because fuck it. What was one of the first things, not first things, but one of the things that get stripped away from people when you are trying to dehumanize them?
Their name.
Remove their name. Give them a number instead. So, I'm going to go ahead and point out that if removing somebody's name is dehumanization, because it is literally a method of stripping them of human qualities, then not giving them their gender that they identify as, which is not something they can really control, once they've figured out that that's their identity, that's where it is. Not giving them that, which is equal to not giving them their name, is, by definition, a method of dehumanization at this point. There really are... There's not an argument against that. And if you think there is, I would love to hear it. Only so that I can show you why you're wrong. Now, there are a few things that were said in here that make me cringe a little bit. First is the term leftist. Like, sorry. Othering bothers me. Anyway. Leftists have redefined the word hate. If you disagree with any liberal position on any social issue, you're a hater of some group. If you oppose homosexuality as a lifestyle, it's not a lifestyle. It's literally somebody's life. Like, they don't have a gay lifestyle. They just live as a gay person.
You don't choose to be gay.
Yeah.
You just are.
Like, a lifestyle is something that you fabricate for yourself. Right?
Now, I would say that there is something known as a gay lifestyle, but it's not referring to the term gay as in a homo. It is referring to gay as in the original intent of the word gay, happy. Like, when you live a gay lifestyle, that was a term that was used real big back in the 1900s because it was a happy lifestyle. You
True,
lived a
but that's
gay
not how they're
lifestyle.
utilizing the term, though.
No, but I'm saying that is a point of contention that could be brought up, and then you have to redefine the term, and the term in this context of gay lifestyle is happy lifestyle.
True, but they said homosexuality as a lifestyle, so they were very specific in their
I
language.
know, but I'm bringing it back up because gay is in the name of gay lifestyle.
Fair enough. Well, I'm having a gay old time so far.
Same.
What's another thing that they brought up in here? So, illegal aliens are now undocumented immigrants. Well, actually, no, they always were undocumented immigrants.
It just depended on who used the term and whether or not they were using it as a pejorative or as the actual state of these people.
Like, they were always immigrants. They were always undocumented. There was no leftist appropriation of these terms here.
They basically just said, okay, so the political term, the legal term for somebody who is entering a country illegally is an undocumented immigrant. However, people who are using the pejorative to address these people have come to call them illegal aliens.
And Robert X, to your point, one remark on this. If they don't tell you what gender they want to be associated with and you can't expect others to use the correct gender, I wouldn't call that misgendering on purpose. It's not. It's just like not giving somebody their name when they've never given you their name is not misnaming them on purpose. Of course not. If you don't have that information, you're working with the information that you have. For instance, you're going to be left with what they present as. That's it.
And then, you have to go through the thing. Okay, well, Aaron, are you male or female? Well, I'm non-binary. Okay, cool. So you present female, but you're non-binary. What pronouns? Well, I go for they, them most often, but I've been known as she, her for all my life, so those work too. Okay, cool. Let's say that I knew her before she was Aaron. Okay, well, I haven't seen you in 5 years. Hey, Sam, how you doing? I actually go by Aaron now. Okay, Aaron, nice to see ya.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of there might be a little
That is the
transitionary
correct way.
period where you're relearning the names. Like, I have some friends who are trans. I have one, I'm not going to say last names, but I knew them as Dylan years ago when I met them. And now they go by Marceline, and they've been taking E for good 2 years now. They are a completely different person in voice, in body type, and everything now. It took me a while, but I'm at the point now where it's like, oh no, you're Marceline. You are not Dylan, the person who I knew for 6 years. is someone completely different now as far as naming and gender is concerned. It's not a difficult thing to do.
No, but you do have those assholes that are like, oh, your old name is Sam. Hi, Sam. How you doing, Sam? And
I hate that name.
And they
If
fucking,
anybody is
yeah, she
wondering-
hates it.
Like, if you call me by my birth name, I get very irritated.
Like, it's the same thing as when, like, people call me something I'm not, because for a long time I used to go by the name Victoria, and I fucking hated it. And now if people call me Victoria, I'm like, actually, it's Raz, thanks. Well, I thought your real name was Pam. Well, yeah, one of them is.
Yeah.
Hi, I've got DID. I don't go by that name anymore because that's not the person that fronts it, so can you please respect this new name?
Well, now, what is another thing they pointed in here? Oh yeah, they've redefined the murder of unborn children, abortion, as reproductive rights. Well, actually, no. Reproductive rights involves many things, one of which is the right to choice. That's not a relabeling. You're literally taking two things that are categorically similar but not the same and arguing that they are exactly the same. No, reproductive rights, just like the pro-choice position, pro-choice is about all possible choices, abortion being one of them. It is not the same thing as pro-abortion. In fact, many people who are pro-choice are anti-abortion. They just happen to recognize that one of the choices available should be the one that they don't like. I made a video about this at one point where I argued that even if I grant you all the horrible arguments about abortion, we would still live in a world, currently, where it's a necessary evil. And that may suck, and it may make you feel icky and disgusting, but you also live in a world where currently war is necessary. I don't like it. I'm sure nobody likes it unless they're profiting off of it. But we still live in a world right now that is ill-fit to not have that. We may one day have a world where that's not the case, but we do not currently live in it. We may one day have a world where we never have to do another abortion ever again. All children will be able to be conceived with no issue, and it will not have any negative effect on the mother or the environment. We do not currently live in that world.
Okay, so I just want to point out real quick, Jack, you're an asshole. Buy one partner, get one free. That's not how D&D works.
No.
You're an asshole, and I see you as an asshole, you fucker. That is a really good point, though.
I'm trying not.
Um,
But secondly, when it comes to, like, reproductive rights, imagine being pregnant and then finding out your pregnancy is killing you. Or your baby has died, but they have to remove the now dead fetus. So removing that dead fetus is actually still classified as an abortion. Do you want that dead child, like, rotting inside of somebody? Like,
Not to mention, there are some people who have argued before that, oh, well, you shouldn't be able to have an abortion after, say, 6-7 weeks. In fact, Georgia's actually working really hard to pass a heartbeat law right now that'll work along those lines. Here's the problem. Do you know what 6 weeks or 7 weeks pregnant actually looks like to a woman? I missed my period a week ago.
yeah.
Like, that's literally all it is. I missed my period a week ago. Like, that's when you're starting to test yourself and determine whether or not things are right. And you're going to test yourself multiple times because we all also know that there's this lovely thing called a false positive that can happen with pregnancy tests, especially cheaper ones.
It also happens with males. And if you get several false positives on a pregnancy test as a male, it could be an early sign of ball cancer.
testicular
Ball
cancer.
cancer. Ball cancer!
Ball cancer!
So would that mean that humans on Earth are Earth's ball cancer?
Yes.
Earth's a ball.
No. But if a male gets several consistent false pregnancies in a row, then you should definitely go get checked, because that is an early sign of testicular cancer.
I would also argue that if you're a male and you're constantly checking your own urine to see whether or not you're pregnant, you may need to take a biology class.
Yeah, and that mythical creature comes up with a good point. For people with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian disease, whatever the fuck, syndrome, or
The thing
just,
you have.
Yeah.
I think what both of us have.
Yes, the thing that every girl that Cirrus knows has, for the most part.
Weird.
And girls just that in general have, or women have, longer periods and longer time in between periods. That's a real fucking scary thought. Like, for instance...
Okay, we need to... What is going on?
Ripley being a good doggo, kind of.
So, Bart Bride says, how does this relate to biblical gender roles? Well, considering that one of their points, directly right here, was that apparently the left has appropriated abortion as reproductive rights, a conversation about what reproductive rights actually are was incredibly apt. So, no, this is not one of the standard tangents that goes out in the left field. This is actually very focused on a single paragraph that they pointed out.
Yeah, and my point being is that people that have these issues with their bodies don't know if they're pregnant or not, because they could still get a false positive and not be pregnant, or they could... I knew this girl who failed. She failed 4 different pregnancy tests, and about 5 months in, she started to show. And she didn't understand how the pregnancy test failed, and that's because she had a weird genetic disorder that made her DNA weird, and it didn't catch on the pregnancy test that she was using. She actually had to go in to confirm by getting blood scraped.
So now we have a situation where this person will not be able to have, if they need an abortion, if they need it, they will not be able to have one until well after the 20-week mark, which is where there's a lot of people who draw the line. There's people who draw the line at 23 weeks. So we have a situation right here that undermines that entire argument. This is why there's nuance. So, also, one of the other things they pointed out in here that I wanted to harp on a little bit was this. There are many liberals, and here's the key word here. I'm going to let you know why that's a key word here in a second. There are many liberals that would even like to strip the term husband and wife from all federal and state laws and replace it with spouse or partner. Now, here's the thing. As an individual, you might in your day-to-day life only know roughly 50 people. Okay? Now, if you're in an isolated environment, and 11 of these 50 people, it could be even less than that, 11 of the 50 people that you know have this position. First of all, if you're biblical gender roles and this is the case, you have a very diverse group of friends and people that you know for being such a narrow-minded bigot. Secondly, that term many could refer to just that 11 people. And 11 out of the 50 people that you know, if it's in an isolated environment, is hardly a valid source group. Now, that's a giant hypothetical. That's not the actual problem here. The actual problem here is with the term many. The term many is one that I have seen used by creationists a lot, because it's a term that when you hear, it immediately brings up a large number. Especially when it's being talked about in just United States. What is many people in the United States? Well, many people would be just a significant portion of the population. We have, 350 million people here? A good few million people. But because they use the word many is not quantifiable. Many, like I said before, can mean 11 people. It can mean millions of people. It can mean billions. It can mean anything. So the mere fact that there are many liberals that would like to strip the terms away, I will grant that there are, because I have met some of them. There are some who would like to take those terms out of the lexicon, or at least out of the legal lexicon. But the mere fact that many of them exist means absolutely diddly squat, because many is not quantifiable. Unless we have a good number for what you're trying to do here, we are left with an unquantifiable set of numbers that can mean thousands, millions. It can also mean 5. This is the problem with that term, and it's why I do not like using that term. I could say the term, many atheists think religion is a mental illness. I would be correct. There are many who do. However, that is not the same thing as saying something like most. Most implies 51% or higher. That is at least mildly quantifiable. Many is not. Many has absolutely no correlation to any number you can pull up, unless it's pulled out of your ass, which is what Bickle Gender Roles is hoping. You'll pull a large number out of your ass, and their argument will sound good, and you'll nod your head. So, and I do agree with Robert, saying people are not allowed to use the term husband and wife would be a problem. Now, here's the thing. Granted, his argument is that they would like to strip husband and wife from the legal lexicon, not from the colloquial lexicon. So you could still call your partner a husband and wife, but legally they would be called a partner, so as to make it a neutral term. I don't necessarily think that's the case, or a good idea. I think that you should be able to use husband, wife, or partner, or spouse, whatever works best for you. The legal documentation should be flexible enough to allow you to use whichever one you are most comfortable with. I think that would be perfectly fine. But, again, the point here is more about legal lexicon, not colloquial usage. So, let us move into... I believe this is more the same point here. The alliance between leftists and non-leftists over misogyny. We'll go ahead and have Pam take this one.
There are many people who would not consider themselves leftists or even secular progressives that would join together with these groups over their opposition to what they agree is misogynist behavior by men. Specifically in the area of opposition to the sexual objectification of women, there is much agreement between the leftist, feminist, conservators, and Christians alike, just to name some of their groups. Okay.
I see we are slowly devolving.
I have issues with the next paragraph.
Well, I'm sure most of us are going to have issues with the next paragraph. The audience can't see it, but they can see the title. They see the title right up there. God, this is so weird. There.
Are you okay, sir?
I'm trying to point to the article. I am failing.
I mean, if you'd like, I could devolve this even more.
Oh, dearie.
Can I devolve it even more?
Can I read the next paragraph?
Yeah. Only if you let me do only the bolded words.
Only the bolded words.
Only the bolded words.
Merriam-Webster's online dictionary defines an object as something material that may be perceived by the senses. So, by that definition, both men and women are objects. But then there are
Animate
and
inanimate
objects. An animate object is one that is alive, while an inanimate object is one that is not. Okay, thanks for taking us all back to kindergarten where you belong.
So, I would say my problem with this is that this is an... Let me form my words together. There's a particular type of argument that is utilized commonly, and it follows the same process as this. And it's called muddying the waters, or at least that's what I call it. When you muddy the waters, it is when you take a position on anything, and you water it down so much that it can mean practically anything. You make the definition so vague it can mean anything. For instance, if I point out that I'm not a fan of conspiratorial thinking, as an example, most people would understand that I'm talking about conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
Hold on, can I read some of the chat, please?
Oh, sure.
Anime and inanimate objects. Animate and animate. Animate. Am I an animate object?
We call those body pillows.
Are inanimate objects manga?
Oh my god.
Do you know that Pergante? That's what I feel like right
Oh
now.
my god. Am I Pergante? Am I Pregonat? God, my point.
I have derailed the stream again.
So, I would say that you're well trained, but then again, that would be a bad joke for derailing. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
How
Anyway.
do I know if I'm anim?
How do I know?
Am I Pregon?
Am I
Lego my
Prengon? Lego my Prego?
The two genders, anime and inanime.
No, yes, the three genders. Anime, inanime, and Pregante. Okay, so the point with muddying the waters is that if I say I'm not a fan of conspiratorial thinking, and somebody responds, which I've had them do so before, with, well, if me and you, a conspiracy is just a conversation between two people, or more than one person, or an agreement. So if me and you were having a conversation over here, we're conspiring.
A Luigi board.
That is an effort to muddy the waters so much
A Luigi
that conspiratorial thinking can mean practically anything, and therefore makes the term completely useless.
Am I a Luigi board?
Oh boy, I love Luigi board. For those who've seen it, the Emperor has a text-to-speech device.
Surely a Waluigi board.
What if they are an animated body pillow? I am an animated body pillow, sir. Oh boy.
Oh no, my inanimate pillow eats
It's a
a
Pregante.
Pregante.
Oh my god.
Anime,
Manate.
Mayonnaise.
Is anime an instrument?
Waweg board.
Oh no, there's a paragraph. What? I'm just reading along, and then I see this, and I'm like,
What paragraph?
as human beings, we use both living and non-living objects all the time. We use pens to write. In the time before the combustion steam engines, we used horses for transportation and plowing fields. We even use people. Okay. And then mentions going to a hair salon or a barber. No. You are not using a person like a tool. No.
Brooks says at Cirrus, to be a body pillow, don't you have to be longer than the body you are a pillow?
Hey, I have a meme for you guys. This is an old meme from my Discord, but I think it's very apt here. Allow me to grab the meme. It will be just one moment, my friends, but believe me, it will be worth it. This is from my Discord.
Waiting for it.
Here we are. You asked how long I was.
Well,
Oh, is this long service?
Yes.
oh.
Everyone,
Fucking same.
Long Cirrus. He emits a powerful energy. There, that's where it is. This is where Long Cirrus is. Hold on, I'm gonna do a thing. I have no. There we go.
It's Blurris.
I have Long
What
Cirrus.
type of virus, computer of the type that infect people?
Bubbling Beast says I should draw Fem Cirrus body pillow style. I just got a new sketchbook.
Ugh. Anyway.
Long Cirrus is blurry because he emits a powerful energy and thus he cannot stay in one realm for too long.
I also love this point. I don't tend to use people like I would a tool, but I get the impression that the author of Biblical Gender Roles is a tool. Do we get Long Service from Long Cirrus? Well, I'll tell you what. Long Cirrus is actually on time to his streams, unlike real Cirrus.
Fucking mood.
Someone draw Cirrus as a long cat. Oh no.
Someone draw him as a Munchkin cat, please?
Yes.
Oh dear.
Please.
The absolute size of Cirrus. Oh boy. So, this seems to be a giant bit of exposition over why female objectification is okay because we objectify everything. Which, like I said before, is literally just an attempt at muddying the waters. It doesn't do anything positive at all. Oh, that is a lovely beep that just happened. I'm assuming it happened over on your end.
Nope.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
'Cause it's not on mine.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah. Which one of you is checking their phone?
Neither.
Neither of us.
No, fair enough. Raposa says, I'm so confused. Longcirrus. Don't worry, Raposa. I've got you. I will
Don't
make...
worry, we'll have Munchkin Cat Cirrus here soon.
Yeah, no, in the, there's another discussion happening in the Discord as well.
Yeah, I've been keeping that tabs.
Yes. So I'm going to open file location. Here you go, Raposa. Longcirrus.
Yes. Brooke, that is exactly what they would be doing. They would just be taking him and flipping him onto all fours. Bongo Cat Cirrus, yes!
The meme is there. This explains nothing.
Well, it explains everything.
It truly does.
The Zero Nenix says, pulls out monocle, I shall solve this mystery of the mysterious phone beat.
Bart Bride says Cirrus's avatar has already been transgendered and tentacled, by the way. It's true. It's very true. It has been all of those things. He is all and he is none. I wonder if I do this, will it... what was the... No, how did I bring that up? I'm trying to see if I can't, like, flash to my desktop. I can't. No. So no, courtesy of Gaelic Knox, actually, random tangent, but my desktop had to be changed. But what I changed it to, I don't know if you guys will approve of or not.
Somebody said, okay, his name is Simeon Does Nothing BG. It can't get worse than tentacles.
Yes, it can! You're on the internet!
There is also Catboy Tentacle Cirrus.
Don't forget about Catgirl Cirrus. No, combination of all three is not as bad as it gets. Also, this is my current computer background. I don't know if you guys approve or not. Here, just...
He's definitely some type of narcissistic.
I thank Gaelic Knox for the thumbnail. But, anywho.
We're just gonna leave that there.
Nah, we're gonna hop that off. Nobody has to stare at Femcirrus tits the whole time. I have plenty of boobage already, because I'm fat. Excellent says she looks scared. No. She looks like she's about to scare you. So, let's move on to their next actual point. How much longer do we even have in here? Dear God, this guy's long-winded.
Can he take his long-windedness and just...
Shove it
Not.
up his ass?
I was saying just not.
Can I go back to funny voices now?
Yes.
You know what? By all means, do it for this one.
Below are some biological facts about the way
Okay,
men's
not with the
brain-
nasal. That makes it really hard to listen to.
Yeah, that's the point. This guy's a fucking idiot.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Fine. You know what? I'll go British royalty. Below are some biological facts about the way men's brains operate. The average man's brain is sexually stimulated by visual cues and is built for variety. Using functional MRI scans, researchers examined the brains of young men as they looked at pictures of beautiful women. They found that feminine beauty affects a man's brain at a very primal level, similar to what a hungry person gets from a good meal or an addict gets from a fix.
That
One
voice
of
is
the
making me
researchers
chew Tic
said
Tacs.
this is hardcore circuitry. This is not a conditioned response. Another concluded men apparently cannot do anything about their pleasurable feeling in the presence of beauty. You're welcome.
You're making me chew Tic Tacs.
Dr.
I have scared Ripley to the point of hiding beneath Aaron with that voice. Thank you, Biblical Gender Rules, for scaring my dog.
That's my dog.
Our dog.
There.
So, here's the thing. By saying it's not misogyny, it's biological reality, here's the thing. So, yes, you see a picture of a beautiful woman, or you happen to see a picture of a woman at all, and it causes you to be aroused. Excellent. That's fine. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and grant you that. I look at Pam, dick goes up. Now, here's the thing, though. It's what you do with that determines whether or not it's objectification. So, for instance, if you're making a list and ranking people on their looks and then bullying them based on what their looks were, then you are treating these people as objects, not as people. You are not taking into account anything that makes them an actual human. Ghost of the Star says, okay then. I see Pam, and it makes me lift my mighty hammer. Speaking of which, where did my hammer go? Aha!
I hit it. Not
Nope.
very well.
Nope. I'm going to go ahead and let you know, biblical gender roles makes my hammer limp. Here it is, this way. It makes the hammer very limp.
Now, did you know, my good sirs, that, like, in... Hold on. Sonic says that it's not ever okay to do any of that, like, misogynistic bullshit.
If somebody touches you in a way that you're not happy with, that's no good.
Remember that it's never okay to infringe on another person's body. That's no good.
Basically. Also, Ghost of the Stars, you didn't realize that I actually have the hammer for my channel? Like, that's a physical thing that I have. Like, you didn't know that? The hammer needs vitamin B1. Like, seriously, I should legitimately repair this hammer so that it's not limp like this. But at the same time, my Twitter handle is just serves as a limp hammer now, so I'm kind of... I gotta keep it.
Whenever somebody touches another person without their consent, that makes me a sad panda. And I don't know if you've ever seen a sad panda before, but they lay around until they die. So unless you want me to die, you guys should remember to always get consent before touching another being.
I have a question. Are we playing Smash Brothers? Because if that's the case, you dead is actually my goal. At least 3 times.
Remember, guys, it's no good to not have consent from every person. And it's definitely not good to treat another person like they're less than a human being. So, like, go fuck yourself.
Anti-sexual harassment panda. Best PSA. Don't kill Pam. Also, Trickster.
Yes, the article really fucking says men can't control themselves. It's an ingrained thing. Deal with it.
Telling men not to become aroused. So here's the thing. Nobody's telling you not to become aroused. Okay?
We're asking you, my dude, my brother, my man, to not do the rape and to not touch someone without their consent.
What we're asking you to... We're not asking you not to watch High School of the Dead. We are asking you not to violate your psycho body pillow after you do so.
Like,
Well, you know what? If you want to violate a body pillow, go right ahead. Just don't violate someone that's in the body pillow.
Yep, don't violate a psycho cosplayer
There you go.
after watching High School of the Dead.
like, if you find somebody attractive, that's fine. But don't go, you're attractive. No.
But I do
That's
that to Panda all the time.
No good.
Yeah, but you're not like, don't go, oh, you're attractive. Violate. Go,
Like-
oh, you're attractive.
Like,
Oh, you're
it's
attractive.
different. It's different if I've given you premeditated consent. But
You're attractive.
but it's no good to go up to someone you don't know with the intent of harming them, my dude.
Why do you keep doing the rap hands?
Because I am 1990 Sonic, and Sonic always spoke with his hands.
That
my
is the
dude.
cringiest thing I've seen, and I'm reading biblical gender roles right now.
Oh my god.
Congratulations, you've managed to up the level of cringe past biblical gender roles. Gitsune Cleaver says, not fair, sir, that's consensual.
Wait,
I mean,
that's
true.
my only technique. Defasia.
But no, like,
Yes, Simeon, we're all in the same room. Like, touch. And then, like, look, I have a Hershey's Kiss. Yeet.
I have a Hershey's Kiss now. So, there's a reason for this. You know how the audio is not as it normally is? The way that you normally hear my audio is like this. Give me 2 seconds, and you'll notice a very discernible difference.
the Tic Tacs ran away.
I know, that's fine. So, when most of you listen to my videos, you're listening to me up against the microphone like this. This is how you're used to hearing me. At least, I'm mildly certain this is how you're used to hearing me. As opposed to... change that to Omni, put it up there. As opposed to what we have to resort to here because
You know,
we are all
I
in
like
one
what
room.
Crystal Fiquette says. You can get turned on, just don't be a jerk face about it. And take that quite literally. Don't jerk off in someone's face unless you have their consent.
That's basically, like, all we are about, I guess, in this house is consent.
Also, I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. There's a term that's thrown around a lot that I don't agree with, and it's the consent is sexy. Consent isn't sexy. Consent is the default.
There's actually like a video on, and I know this is gonna sound real weird, and people are gonna think I'm weird, but that's okay because fuck all of you. Okay, so on TikTok there's an audio where during the Me Too movement, a lot of girls went on there and shared their story with the audio of consent is sexy. No.
Hold on. Saying that the audio got really, there we go.
Okay,
Try
so
now.
there was an audio going around on TikTok, and it was, consent is sexy? No. Lingerie is sexy. Consent is a basic human right. And that is what I agree with. Like, I would love...
Finish your words.
I'm sorry, I saw someone say I like Panda's accent and attitude. I don't have an accent, my dude.
Yes, you do. You sound sexy.
That's... no.
That is your accent.
Yes.
I mean, if you want me to have an accent,
Please
I can.
no.
No.
Can I read in a voice, please? Please?
Is it for here?
Please? Yeah. Please?
What the
What'd you do?
I have...
I'm gonna read now.
Yes.
And all these girls are not alone in their thinking. We have Christians that are essentially teaching the same thing. Al Blen at 78mag.com wrote an article entitled A Man's Perspective on Yoga Pants, where he spoke about how men need to change what he acknowledges as natural behavior on their part. Do I like yoga pants? You scroll too far. Do I like yoga pants? Of course I do. I think they may be the greatest thing ever invented. But that's the barbarian in me. The Cro-Magnon, the man, to say that leggings cause men to stumble might be a stretch, pun intended. Men can cause men to stumble, not leggings. When a gorgeous behind passes by, we, as men, always have a choice. Either A, look away and think nothing else of it, or B, appreciate the female form while you sip your half-calf, or C, visualize scenarios that run the Purient Gamut. You're welcome.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that heard that XVDVN2. A man's perspective. It's almost like you said a man's vasectomy.
Well, yeah, because, you know,
Got close.
anybody that wants to force themselves on another person should have a vasectomy.
The yoga pants caused the Greek world to fall. They made Rome fall. So the Christian man is faced with a very difficult scenario. Pursue purity or feed the beast. We justify the latter by saying that it's natural or just the way we're made. Since some of the problem is not in yoga pants, the problem is our mind, the problem is our heart. So, again, yeah, no, the issue is not... as everything that has been shown here so far, the issue is not that you are attracted to these things. The issue is what you do. If you are attracted to another female, fine, whatever. If you then pursue them when they've told you to stop, we have a problem. If you create a list that causes them to get hurt, there's a problem. Biblical versus secular conversion programs. Wait a minute.
Wait.
Wait a minute.
Hold on. Because I'm dealing with something.
Wait 1 goddamn second. What is it thou dealing with? I am confused. Also, it seems like... Oh, well. We have the first fan art of the stream.
Yeah, we do.
Yep, I need to go ahead and go into the fan
Also,
art
I
folder.
would like to apologize for anyone that has an issue with this topic, but I would like to formally, with my voice, suggest if you have an issue with consent, with forced interactions, with dehumanization, with homophobia, please, if you're okay with watching the stream, then go ahead and watch the stream, interact if you can. But Biblical Gender Roles is a site that promotes this kind of disgusting behavior, and if you cannot handle being part of the discussion, that is 100% okay. Your sanity is more important. Please feel free to leave a message to either myself or Cirrus, letting us know, and we do not find you responsible for anything. We're not going to be mad at you for leaving.
Like, no,
Like-
I have episodes on my channel that are harder to watch than others.
This series is very difficult for someone who has issues with consent and forced interactions and things of the like. So please, if you see us doing a stream like this and you are uncomfortable with any of the above topics, or you have something that triggers you that is part of this discussion, I would suggest, while we love your support, maybe this stream isn't right for you, and maybe you can hang out with us on a different day.
Hammered Out will be tomorrow, and Hammered Out is usually a lot more lighthearted than Biblical Gender Roles is.
And I would say for the specific person, I'm not gonna call you out, but don't be sorry for being a frail of mind. You're not. You have an issue with something that is being said, and that's fine. So we respect you. I let you know that it was okay for you to go, because I don't foresee us being done for another 10, 15 minutes at least. So, we love you. We'll see you next stream. Just try to keep away from the Biblical Gender Roles for now, because this is a very harsh topic.
And to the person who called themselves frail, you're not frail. You are dealing with something that has happened to you, and right now, what you need is to take care of yourself. And to sit there and say, okay, well, this is bothering me, is not a sign of frailty, it's a sign of strength. You are doing what you need to do to say, hey, I have an issue. Let me just bring up that I have an issue, and then, do what you need to do to be healthy for yourself.
Yep, with that being said, we have Long Cat Cirrus in the, side corner now.
We also have the Please Consent Panda.
What?
Yeah. It'll load up on your end a little bit.
Don't kill me, get consent!
So, eventually it'll populate the screen and nobody will be able to read Biblical Gender Roles ever again.
Don't kill me, get consent! Same though.
The final thing that I will say, there are episodes that I have that are very, very lighthearted. There are episodes that I have that are very, very heavy. And then there are episodes that I have where I myself am heavy-handed. There's an episode released on this channel every day of the week. Sometimes the subject matter is going to be too much for you. Sometimes it won't be. If there's an episode that you can't watch, I am never going to begrudge you of that. One of the reasons that I release 5 videos a week, aside from the fact that it's the only way that I can possibly support myself on this, because I don't have a large channel, one of the reasons that I do that is so I can have a very high diversity of content. With that diverse content means that you are able to watch what you want, or not watch what you want, and it will not affect me either way. Do not put yourself through any type of mental anguish on my behalf. Letrin says, can I write a Cirrus fanfiction so that it replaces or at least covers Biblical Gender Roles? Oh my god. consent panda needs to become a worldwide meme. Oh my god. Slowly smothering the BGR site with love.
Right.